Okay.
And here we go. Okay, so for those of you, we are pre-recording the show. That's why you don't hear the music. But I want to share with you that when you are looking for water, if you want to learn anything about water, the person that will always come up as the expert is Dr. Gerald Pollack. And so fasten your seatbelt because we are going to learn and grow together. So here we go. Hello, my listening friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been listening to the show, I am so grateful for you. And if you are tuning in, stumbled upon the show, I've been waiting for you. And so let me share with you what the purpose of the show is, to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, we are giving away a book, and I am going to give it to the fifth caller or texter. And so you need to program this number, 407-373-5959, because you will want a copy of this book. If you ever wondered what is the best water for you, if you've ever wondered who is the expert in water, well, look no more, because we have him right here today, and we're going to be giving away one of his books. What do you really know about water? What is the best kind of water? There's spring, there's reverse osmosis, structured, sparkling, and drinking, alkaline, and more. But what is the best water for us? And why is water so good for us? What are the rules about water? You know, there's so many things we don't know about water. And like I said, when you look for the expert in water, it's Dr. Gerald Pollack. And if you don't believe me, check him out. Google him. You will learn that new truth as well. And so today we're going to talk about the basics. So this is like, for him, it's going to be like kindergarten. For us, this might be an awakening and an empowering to learn about the importance of water. And also, because he's way, way out there, we're also going to learn about the fourth phase of water. Dr. Pollack's going to leave us thirsty for more knowledge. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Gerald Pollack is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Pollack, to the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Oh, thanks, Lily. I really appreciate that warm and wonderful introduction. But, you know, being called expert sounds a little bit like expert. And, you know, getting on in years, I'm not so sure I welcome that particular description. But anyway.
No, you have earned it. You have earned many awards for this work that you have done. Share a little bit about your background and what has led you to being fascinated and teaching us so much about water.
I started my career studying muscles and trying to understand how the proteins inside the muscle interact with one another to create the contraction of all the muscles in our body. There was a theory, a prevailing theory, it still prevails, set forth by a really important Nobel laureate. He passed about 7 or 8 years ago. His name was Sir Andrew Huxley. Mm-hmm. And of course, he has the distinction of the famous name Huxley. And the name extends back to various scientists and writers. Aldous Huxley is a half-brother. Mm-hmm. Thomas Henry Huxley was Darwin's bulldog and such. And so it was his theory that was put forth. And we found evidence that theory was simply inadequate. The evidence that we were able to obtain in our laboratory just didn't fit the theory at all. And so our position, our point of view is something's got to be different. The theory can't be right. And we had some ideas, but in the process, it occurred to me that one thing that was missing from any theory of how the proteins could interact with one another to cause contraction, is that what was missing is the main constituent of muscle cells, and that is not the proteins, but the water. So every muscle cell is approximately 2/3 water, just like most of the cells in our body. And that 2/3 water actually translates, if you do a count of molecules, in other words, if you line up all the molecules inside the cell and count them one by one, more than 99 out of 100 will be water molecules.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're so small that in order to fill that 2/3 volume, you need a whole lot of water molecules. And if the people who've done the count, I've not done it myself, report is more than 99 out of 100. And, it occurred to me, how is it possible to ignore 99 out of 100 molecules inside the muscle cell to try to figure out how muscles contract?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make sense to me. How can you ignore the main constituent? And that's just about the time that I met, you might say, an historical figure. His name is Gilbert Ling, L-I-N-G,
Mm-hmm.
and Gilbert is now 99 years old, alive and kicking.
Okay. So let's hold on, and we'll talk about Gilbert and a few when we return worldwide. We're talking to Dr. Gerald Pollack when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. 407-373 will get you 5959. We'll get you a copy of the book. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
No, I wasn't looking, but
no, that's okay. That's okay. So, what did you say his name? Gilbert?
Gilbert Ling. Yeah.
Gilbert Ling.
L-I-N-G.
L-I-N-G. And so I wanted to ask you something. You were talking about a theory during our first segment. What is the theory? The theory is that water contracts muscle, not protein?
That water is centrally involved. Water is centrally involved in everything that a muscle does. You can't. It's centrally involved in the contractile process. You can't understand the contractile process without understanding the water, the role of the water. So water is extremely important in everything the muscle does. I guess I don't want to spend too much time on that because there's a lot more.
Sure.
There's some interesting stories, and I guess I'll go into that. But I think I'll just mention Gilbert Ling briefly.
Yeah.
He's an important figure and has been an important figure, a controversial guy, and has been really important in the development of my own ideas.
Wonderful. And he's 99 now?
99.
Wow.
And as I said, still kicking, and he kicks strongly. His kind of personality. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So what we're going to do is we're about to go back on the air. And so let's briefly talk about him, and then let's start from the beginning. Why is water important? The basics of water, because many of us think that Coke or tea is just as powerful in the body. And we know, and I've had so many people say, hey, if you don't bathe in it, don't drink it. And so let's learn about what your theories are, so that, because there's waters with smaller molecules, waters with larger molecules. What are those? And so if you can help us get down to the basic, that would be awesome. And I see that we're ready to get going. Is that good? Is that good?
Yeah, okay. But guide me.
Okay, I will. It's a dance. You ready to dance? Okay.
Right.
So here we go. Let's go ahead and start. Here we go. Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice to see you, and welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Dr. Gerald Pollack. Look him up. He is world-renowned. He is an authority. Okay, I'm not going to call him an expert. I'm going to call him the authority in water. And he has learned so much about water, so much more that he has found or helped be in the process of explaining this fourth phase of water. But before we go there, I want to learn the basics. But before we went on the break, Dr. Gerald Pollack was talking. was talking about Gilbert Ling and why this man has been so influential for you. What was it that you wanted to share his story?
Gilbert Ling, by now has written either 6 or 7 books that deal with the character of the water that's inside your cells and my cells. Mm-hmm. And his conclusion, based on a lifetime of evidence, is that the water that's inside the cell is not like water in a glass. So when you have water in a glass, the molecules are bouncing around at an incredible number of times per second, wildly doing some kind of dance, and they're oriented randomly with respect to one another. Okay. And he said, no, that's not true. The water in the cell is different from water in a glass. He said that the water molecules are all lined up like soldiers lined up in a parade or something like this. And that caught my attention. It caught the attention of a lot of other scientists, and he was mostly ridiculed because the idea is so radical, the idea that there should be a kind of water that's different from the liquid water that we know. But if you think about it, if you cut open one of your cells, the water doesn't pour out. And the reason it doesn't pour out is it's really more like a gel. And it's this kind of ordered water that has a gel-like character that fills your body. And so it's absolutely central to everything, every kind of understanding of how not only muscle cells, but every cell actually functions. That's what got us started. And I wrote a book in 2001. It's called Cells, Gels, and the Engines of Life. That book, also controversial, but it's got a nice cover, so it's worth looking at. It really is a pretty cover, and some nice illustrations. And that book initially was designed to outline Gilbert Ling's ideas, which are not so accessible, certainly not to the public, even to some scientists. They're pretty dense, and
especially since he was mocked and ridiculed, like so many scientists that have a new truth to share with people. So let's go to the very beginning, because water is confusing to us. So you're talking about the water inside our body. And so before it goes inside our body, is the water that's inside our body, does it come directly connected to the water we drink and the water that we consume?
Yes, of course it has some relation, but it gets converted. Yes. It gets converted to what we call fourth phase water, or ordered water, or structured water. And we also call it EZ water. And if I use that term, please forgive me. EZ, easy to remember. It stands for exclusion zone, EZ. It doesn't work, unfortunately, in some countries because it's EZ instead of.
Got it.
And it makes it difficult. But anyway, that's what we discovered. And it forms when water meets certain kinds of surfaces, so-called hydrophilic surfaces, which means water-loving surfaces. And all that means is if you have one of these surfaces lying horizontally and you droplet of water on it, the water will spread out, as opposed to a hydrophobic, water-fearing surface like Teflon, where the water beads up. So if it's hydrophilic, then usually, not always, usually when the water meets that surface, it undergoes a conversion to this fourth phase water. So it means that the water that you drink, that you take into your body, ordinary water, some of it gets peed out, but another fraction of it gets converted into this easy water, and that's the water that fills your cell.
Okay. So are there better waters for us to drink? I mean, let's talk about, the getting down to basics and our relationship with water. I see that now we drink the water, it gets converted into this easy. And that's what the book that we're giving away today, it's for the fifth caller, 407-373-5959. Do you have a copy of your book? Because I want to be able to show it later on. No, but we'll do that during the break. There we go. Okay. So you're wonderful to do that. So I didn't have the book with me, but for you, Dr. Pollack, let's talk about the best waters to drink, because I know we have someone in common, my cousin David, and he was sharing that they're waters that have smaller molecules and that you're able to process easier in the body. That's my layman's term of what he's trying to tell me. Can you share a little bit about what's the best kind of water? Because there's so many people trying to sell different kinds of water. Which one is best for us?
The question seems so simple, and yet it's not so simple to answer. And the bottom line is, no, I can't. However, I have some ideas and theories, but ultimately the way to test that is to have subjects who maybe have some illnesses or whatever drink various kinds of waters and study them, clinical trials to see which one is best. I can just say that based on our experience, we can kind of lead in a particular direction, but it's not absolutely clear. And I'm sorry that I can't be more definitive.
No, that's good, but we can get a little closer.
Well, I think the closest is that when a cell in your body doesn't have enough of this easy, structured fourth phase water, it can't function properly. So if your muscle cell doesn't have a full complement of this water to surround the proteins, the water and the proteins are actually they stick to one another, and you can't have the protein without this easy water that's right next to it. But if you don't have enough of it, your proteins or protein water combination can't function properly, and your muscles, for example, if we're talking of muscle cells, can't function properly. They need to be rehydrated. And of course, everybody knows that hydration is important, and hydration amounts to this easy water that's inside your cell. That's what hydration is. The water that you drink gets converted to that. So in principle, if you don't have enough of that water and your cells are not functioning properly, you need to get more of it. And the simplest way to get more is to drink it.
Okay, so we drink it. We get more.
Water that has the highest fraction or highest percent of easy water in it should, in theory, as I said, in theory, be the one that's best for your health. And one way of doing this is to do juicing. I guess you're quite familiar. So when you juice, what do? You take fresh green plants that are growing in your backyard, or maybe at the organic counter at the supermarket, and you take it and you put it into the machine and you squeeze it, right? And what you do when you squeeze it is you're squeezing the water, and that's the water that you drink. Now, why is this good for you? Well, it's good for you because the water inside the plant cells, which is what you're squeezing out, is similar to the water that's inside your cells. And these plant cells are freshly grown. They should have a full complement of easy water. So basically, if you have a deficiency of easy water, a deficiency of hydration, you want to get that water back up again. And one way to do it is to drink the water that's inside the cells of the plants by simply squeezing it out. And I know that many health practitioners, not conventional ones, but others who advocate wellness, will tell their patients when they come, the first thing they tell them is do juicing and drink that juice. Well, I mean, it's not so delicious, but if you add a little bit of strawberry or something to it, it's palatable. My wife used to prepare it, but she got tired of doing it. But the report from many of these practitioners is it's remarkably effective, almost no matter what problem you have. See, many of the problems are linked to dehydration, and that is not enough easy water in your cells. So if you can replace what's missing from the cell with easy water, that's the most direct route to restoring that kind of water.
Okay, so the easy water is the fourth phase water.
Right.
And so let's go backwards, because you talked about exclusion zone. And I've been doing some research on the easy water, but before it becomes easy water, and when we are consuming this water that converts into easy water, whether it's through a plant or it's through the faucet, is there an easier conversion for the molecular water to go into our cell? What is the, like,
Yeah.
I asked the question, but I don't know if I understood the answer. But, and I'm asking is, like, you get alkaline water, or you get, drinking water, tap water, spring water. Is there anything that converts easier to easy water?
Sorry, don't know. I would think that alkaline water would do that. So I don't know if your listeners are familiar. There are machines that produce so-called alkaline water. They have high pH and they're negatively charged.
Mm-hmm.
And easy water is actually negatively charged. Your body is negatively charged. Your cells are negatively charged.
Yes.
And
The earth is negatively charged.
And the earth is negatively charged, right? So if you connect yourself to the earth by either walking barefoot or buying one of the devices that maybe effectively connect you to the grounding, earthing, then you're connecting yourself to a vast, practically infinite sea of negative charge. Connecting yourself to that should help to build easy water, because easy water is negatively charged. And if you connect yourself to a source, an infinite source of negative charge, then that negative charge should build in your body and build easy water. So that's indeed a way to build easy water.
So your water should be negatively charged.
Well, in theory, yes, it should. If you drink the negatively charged alkaline water, in theory, again, this is just theory. It needs clinical tests to be sure, but the theory suggests that should help, right?
Okay, and so then when it comes into our body, it's absorbed into our molecules, right? Or does it go through light? Because I know that light has a lot to do with this.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say, but I think we're kind of almost running out of time.
We can get started. We can do a little teaser. How about that?
A teaser, yeah, light is important, and especially infrared light. Infrared light, it comes with sunlight, although it's not the major component of sunlight, but you can get it other ways. And infrared is all around us. Most of us don't realize that it's all around us, but it is everything around. I mean, I see an image of you with a wonderful painting behind of the Eiffel Tower. That's generating infrared light.
That's generating.
It's absolutely generating infrared light, and your hand is generating infrared light, and your walls are generating infrared light. And if you were to turn off all the lights in your room so we couldn't see you on video, an infrared camera with a sensor that is sensitive to infrared would pick it up.
Okay,
so I guess
that's intriguing. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper in this, and we're going to continue our conversation. Remember, the book is The Fourth Phase of Water. 407-373-5959. Be the fifth caller or texter, and we'll be right here waiting for you. Whoa, I almost didn't make it out there. So everything has infrared.
A copy, and I can show
Yes, that would be great. I want our viewers to, because I don't have a copy of it. I have the PDF version of it.
Oh.
So everything we need to know about the hydration process in our body is in this book.
Well, I there's quite a lot of it that's in this book. It's the book goes pretty deeply into, but it's accessible to lay people.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote it that way.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to. So I asked the question for Dr. Pollack about, what's the best kind of water to drink, and we don't want to say one water is better than the other. Perhaps maybe there should be a clinical trial to prove what that is. But what you were about to say something about what you do know about it. But we don't want to say that this particular water or this water company. But there's so many different kinds of water, and I've heard alkaline water isn't good for you because it takes the acid away from your stomach.
Well, yeah. So about alkaline water, let me say, I know a Japanese researcher who has spent the better part of his life studying alkaline water, and he told me that in Japan they actually did do clinical tests, and the tests were so remarkably positive that right now, if you go into a clinic with some kind of gastrointestinal problem, for anywhere between your mouth and your anus, they'll put you on this water, on alkaline water. And usually governments are not so happy to pay for stuff like this if they don't need to, but apparently the Japanese government does that. So if you have a problem, the Japanese government or their insurance, however it works there, will pay for you to drink alkaline water, because in their view, the clinical tests have shown that it's less expensive for them to put you on alkaline water than it is for you to go through other kinds of procedures. So they think it's effective. Now, obviously, you'll hear positive and negative remarks about everything. It's inevitable, especially when there are competing groups that have commercial interests, and that's a kind of difficult because when you hear something from a company that sells a particular type of water and they we tested it and such. Well, sometimes the tests are fine, but other times maybe they're can be interpreted with a bit of bias involved. So I urge, if someone has interest in this, some laboratory or some person who's interested in doing it, who really understands water and has no commercial interest in any of these water companies,
I agree.
Should be testing them. And this would be a remarkable benefit to humanity.
I agree. Well, you know what they are doing? They're doing a test on alcohol, having a glass of alcohol a day. And they're trying to figure out that to make that, it's healthy to have a glass of alcohol a day. And guess who's paying for that study? Well, the water industry should do the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so we're about to get started. I've been getting the start button. So when I get that start, we'll get started. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we are heard worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I'm your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from each other. Just know that you may know a lot, but the person in front of you knows things that you don't know. And so what we learn on the show is the things we don't know. And I'm enjoying my conversation with Dr. Pollack, Dr. Gerald Pollack. If you look him up, he knows so much about water and how water interacts in our body. And it's called the fourth phase of water. And so today we're giving away a free book. It's called The Fourth Phase of Water by Gerald Pollack, or Jerry, as he asked me to call him. Be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959. I just want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we have the conversation of what we don't know. And while you're there, please subscribe. Check out the YouTube channel. We have had some conversations on and off the air, and that will give you access to the off the air while you're listening to my beautiful sponsors. We're talking one-on-one about maybe a deeper. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com, click onto my YouTube channel and subscribe there. And when you subscribe to whenyouneedafriend.com and the YouTube channel, the video or the audio goes right to your email, your tablets, your cell phone, so that you can listen at your own leisure. And so while you're there, check out my sponsors, because without my sponsors, there would be no show. So figure out who these sponsors are and figure out a different way that you can support them the way they're supporting me. And just know that with everything that we do, I'm always accessible to you at 407-373-5959. And today, be the fifth caller or texter to contact the show, 407-373-5959. That's number 5, number 5th. 407-373-5959, and you can get a copy of The Fourth Phase of Water. This is fascinating, Dr. Pollack, and I'm really excited that you have joined us today, because to me, it's all about drinking water. But the reality is it's more. It's what the water does to us when it's in there. So if you can start from the beginning, I know that you call it the fourth phase of water, but let's talk about the different phases, the liquid, the solid, the frozen. And
I mean, for many years, everybody has learned, and we all know that water has three phases. The solid is ice, and the liquid we drink, and the vapor is what rises up into the air through evaporation. But even more than 100 years ago, some scientists deduced that there must be a fourth phase of water. Why did they deduce that? Because a lot of things are not explained by three phases of water. Various scientific findings and even everyday observations don't fit very nicely into the paradigm of three phases, and so the idea of a fourth phase came into being and was predicted, and so the idea that this fourth phase is kind of ordered phase, we sometimes call it liquid crystalline phase, was predicted long ago. And even the great Nobel laureate Albert Szent-Györgyi, who is considered the father of modern biochemistry, he said in many of his papers and his lectures, he talked about the fourth. He didn't call it the fourth phase, but he called it ordered water. And one of his famous quotes or famous comments is, "Life is water dancing to the tune of solids." So he knew that the movements of water were critical for everything in life. And I can only tell you that he was, our experiments, our experimental results have shown that he was right on target. 50 years ago, same idea. And then Gilbert Ling, whom I mentioned earlier. So the idea of a fourth phase over and above the three that everybody learns is an old idea. It's not a new idea. It's just that we came upon the experimental evidence to demonstrate. And a lot of this appears in reader-friendly form in the book. And for those who are maybe on YouTube, I have a picture. It's got a nice cover.
It does.
And I'm proud to say that the artist is my son.
Oh, very nice.
I think he's a gifted artist. Many people have commented, and it's written in a reader-friendly manner because, in my view, nature is simple. And if it seems complicated, then you're probably on the wrong track. People have known for centuries that the scientific principles should be simple. There's something called Occam's razor, and this principle, starting with I think it was William of Ockham, 7 or 8 centuries ago, became known as Occam's razor. And if you have two competing ideas for how something works scientifically, the simpler one is likely to be the one.
Really?
True. Yeah. And Newton picked this up and used it. And many people have come to appreciate that nature really does work in a simple way. And so the paradigm this fourth phase paradigm that we discovered is actually very simple. May seem more complicated because isn't 3 enough? Why do we need a fourth phase?
And why is it important? And why is it important too?
And why is it important? And the importance, at least in terms of human health, and I mentioned it's the water that fills your cells and it participates in everything that the cell does. So if you don't understand how this fourth phase of water, if you don't understand the properties of this, you'll never be able to understand how life works and how it functions. I think many of the concepts that we have learned are not correct. They assume that the water that's inside the cell is just like water in a glass. And we've demonstrated that's not the case. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people are beginning to pick up on this, particularly those people who are in so-called alternative medicine or naturopathic medicine, who are really looking to try to understand what's going on rather than just deal with the symptoms of it. And so I receive a lot of invitations, always more than I can handle, because so many people now are eager to learn about water. Water is so critical to everything we do, but most people haven't really gotten a core understanding of the water, and that's what appears in the book that I mentioned. And so the reaction to this book has been really positive. The Amazon reviews have been, I think there are almost 150 of them, and they're mostly very flattering, and it's wonderful feedback because I've got more books in the process about various features of nature, and I'm really excited to do this, and also excited by the reaction of many people to this.
Yeah, well, interesting because, as you were talking, I had this visual of when my blood is drawn and they spin my blood, it separates. So when it separates, is that the fourth phase of water that I'm looking at, that gel-like water?
Well, I'm not sure. I think not. The separation occurs as the red blood cells spin down and form a kind of solid, and the rest is the plasma. That is the liquid content. But one of it's a question that comes up all the time, and so people ask, well, is the liquid content, is it really easy water? And I think it's not, or mostly not, because easy water is gel-like, and you don't want gel-like water in your blood vessels because it's really difficult to force a gel through a narrow capillary.
Yes.
Try forcing Jell-O through a very narrow tube. Mm-hmm. It requires a lot of energy to do that. And so you would prefer that the blood that flows through your veins and arteries and capillaries be liquid. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably one area in your body that's not easy water. Blood's complicated. It's not just red blood cells and water.
So it's in the muscle. It's
in every cell in your body, but the blood vessels are outside the cells. You see, and outside the cells may be different from inside the cells. It remains to be seen because these questions have not really been answered. I suggested that pretty much everything inside your body is easy water. But I don't literally mean everything. It's just the water inside the cells and much of the water outside the cells too. But I think not in the blood. Before I guess we're going to end this segment pretty soon. But at the end of the last segment, I was talking about infrared light because I just want to, maybe we won't get to it now, but infrared light is all around us. It comes from everywhere. It's free for the taking. So it's literally free energy. This energy is what builds easy water. So if you go into a sauna, it's warm, full of infrared energy. And that's what builds easy water. And that's why when you leave the sauna after 20 or 30 minutes, you feel better than when you came in because your easy water in your body has been building when exposed to that heat or infrared energy.
Even when you're sweating. Okay, so I'm like Nav's like 20 questions here, and we're going to continue our conversation. Remember, we have the book. It's called The Fourth Phase of Water. Be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And we're going to continue our conversation about fourth phase of water when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so when you're in a sauna, I thought you're sweating water. You're getting rid of water. But it's the opposite? Did I hear that correctly?
No, I'm not talking about the amount of water. Yeah, sure, you're losing some of your water, but at the same time, the water that is in your body, any of the water will get converted to easy water. So if you don't have enough easy water inside your cell, that is, if the easy water that's normally inside your cell has converted back to ordinary water, you expose yourself to infrared and it rebuilds. So we know experimentally that you turn on an infrared light, and we can see in the laboratory that easy builds. It builds wildly. We've seen it, some easy increase by up to 10 times by exposure to infrared light. So having seen this in the laboratory, we presume that there's no reason why the same thing shouldn't happen inside your body. So the infrared light or energy penetrates into your body some wavelengths more than others, and it builds easy water. And since you need a full complement of easy water in every cell in your body to function as properly as I think you function, this will help you to do it. So you go in and your muscles are sore, they're overused and probably dehydrated, probably missing easy water. Mm-hmm. And you go into the sauna and your muscles now receive infrared energy, and the infrared energy builds whatever ordinary water is inside the cell that has replaced the easy water and rebuilds it to easy water. So then you feel better again. Dehydration is really a serious issue. Go ahead.
It is a serious issue. So earlier you said the reflection of that picture is giving me infrared. If I turn off all the lighting in here, I'm getting infrared. Where does infrared light come from? It's actually generated by everything around you. It's unavoidable. The energy that's received from the environment by all this gets re-radiated out, and it's re-radiated as infrared energy. And the proof of the pudding is you take an infrared camera, like a night camera, mm-hmm. used in the military, for example. It's dark, totally dark, but you get a beautiful image, and it's because infrared energy is coming from everything around you, everything in the environment. It's not just your toaster or oven, it's everything. What would be a great source of infrared if I wanted to know? Because we don't see it. Obviously, we don't see it. We don't feel it. We don't. I mean, this is like the first time I think of infrared as like a place you go and they have certain lights that you sit in, and that's what I've kind of thought. But you're saying infrared is everywhere.
It's everywhere. You can get more of it if you stand in front of an infrared light. And that's what I mean by the sauna, because the sauna is producing infrared. You don't see it. Sometimes the physicists refer to it as light, even though you can't visualize it. But it's there, just like ordinary light. And in the sauna, because it's so hot, there's so much infrared energy, and so it's this concentrated infrared energy that's penetrating your body. And although you lose water because of sweating, whatever water that's in your body gets converted into easy water very rapidly.
And easy water is what causes your muscles to contract?
It's necessary for the contractile process. And it's not just muscles I'm talking about. It's nerve cells, it's secretory cells, it's kidney cells, every cell in your body.
Okay, I see that we're ready to start. And so this is our fourth segment. So I'm just going to leave it open for you. Just help us understand the importance of water, how it converts into the body, and easy water, how we can create more easy water in our body. How does that sound?
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're ready to get started. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn from one another. Today's teacher is Dr. Gerald Pollack. He is world-renowned expert in water, and I am learning more about infrared and easy water in our body. So easy stands for exclusion zone. And so this is water that we drink. It converts in our body when there's what? Infrared? I mean, so help us understand. Oh, before we start talking, fifth caller or texter 407-373-5959 will win the book called The Fourth Phase of Water. That's everything you want to know and how important water is in your body. So for those of you who think you're getting water out of your soda, think again. That's not going to convert into anything, is it, Dr. Pollack?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not going to convert into anything, but as many people know, the sugar is not something that you want to drink a lot of.
Yeah.
But let me go back to the conversion and how you can build the easy water in your body, because having enough easy water in your body is really critical for function. It's not just, I referred earlier to muscle cells mm-hmm. and contraction, but I just use that as a representative cell. The same thing occurs in nerve cells in your brain. And it occurs in kidney cells and pancreatic cells and any cell you can think of. The cell must have an ample supply of hydration, which is for us the same as easy water. It needs enough easy water surrounding every protein inside the cell in order for that particular cell to function, whether the cell contracts or whether it transmits information or whether it secretes a hormone. They all need it. So to maintain good health, you want to build as much easy water as possible. I mentioned earlier a couple of vehicles for doing it. One of them is juicing, another one is earthing, but and another one that I started to talk about was going into a sauna, where because of the heat, there's so much infrared energy, highly concentrated, and that infrared energy tends to build easy water inside your body in all the cells, especially the cells that are deficient. So it brings them back up to from being dehydrated to being hydrated, and thereby functioning better. So those are three, but there are more. One of them maybe comes as a surprise to some people. You know, back from Ayurvedic and ancient Chinese medicine up to almost the present time, there are certain substances, mostly plant substances, that have been used for health, for promoting health.
Sure.
You know, they had the same problems back then as we have now, and they needed someone to take care of them. And out of these cultures developed some substances that are even today well known to promote health. So, an example is turmeric is one of those. From India, from the ancient Ayurvedic tradition. Coconut oil, coconut water is another one of them. So we tested a half dozen of these agents that are known to promote health. And we had the idea that maybe they promote health because they're building easy water. We didn't know if that was true. We tested a half dozen of them. Everyone built easy water in the concentrations that you're likely to have in your body. And we just published a paper on that just a week ago.
Nice.
And also ghee, that wasn't one of the ones in the study, clarified butter, which is known to promote health. So we studied ghee, and ghee produces a huge amount of easy water.
Really?
We were surprised. So it may be that the health benefits of fats, which are now coming back into, if you say, fashion, so to speak, that it's really true that fats are good for health. And one reason that they may be good for health is that they build easy water. So we've got a few different routes, and that would be one of them. And another one. I'm sorry.
I'm loving all this. So I'm learning about this easy water, which is the conversion of the water we drink into our body to help hydrate our body, right?
Right.
Do I have that straight?
You do.
Okay. So what are different ways? You said that there's juice, earthing, and the sauna. And are there other ways that we can increase this easy water? So if I don't drink a lot of water and I go into a sauna, or if I don't drink a lot of water and I juice, if I don't drink a lot of water and I expose myself to infrared lighting, will that water reproduce in my body as if I was drinking more water?
I can't say for sure. I mean, drinking water is the raw material for building easy water. So it's always important to get water, whether you get the water through drinking or some foods contain a good deal of easy water. There's a new book. It's called Quench, suitable name, that deals with this subject, written by a couple of friends of mine, one of whose name is Gina Bria. It discusses hydration, and one of the main points is that you don't really need to drink 8 glasses of water per day. You can get some of it from the water that's contained in the foods. And
Dr. Joel Fuhrman, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Dr. Joel Fuhrman says that all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, then there are at least 2 people who say that.
I'm sure there's more than 2.
So, but there's one final one that I should mention. This is maybe somewhat exotic for some people who don't know about it. It's called hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Yes, yes. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so I had a postdoc. After he left my laboratory, he went to work for a company that produces and researches hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So what that is a tube, and you get into the tube, and you're exposed then to high oxygen and high pressure, both of them. And this postdoc of mine came back after he was gone for a bit. He said, he said, this therapy has been approved for wound healing. It was developed, I think, 50 years ago to treat soldiers whose wounds wouldn't heal. And they get into this chamber and their wounds heal like magic. But the company has been researching, he said there were 29 or so different syndromes for which this therapy is useful. So I began to think, how could this be possible? Could there really be 29 different mechanisms for hyperbaric oxygen therapy? Or, again, back to Occam's razor, a simpler idea is that there's one mechanism that operates all over the body. And of course, we came to the idea of water. And so we had the hypothesis that maybe somehow the high pressure and high oxygen build easy water. One of my students tested it, and he found if you, in a chamber, if you expose it to high oxygen, you get more easy water. If you expose it to high pressure, you also get more easy water. We kind of expected this based on physical, chemical considerations that I don't need to go into, but it's demonstrated very clearly that it builds easy water. And as I mentioned, throughout, easy water is very important for health. And so I think one reason why hyperbaric oxygen therapy is so effective for so many things is that it builds easy water.
Well, real quick, because we're almost at the end of the show, and I said at the beginning you were going to leave us thirsty for more. I am thirsty for more. So you talk about things that build easy water. Are there things that we do that will deplete easy water?
Oh, yeah. You almost can't avoid it. We tested, for example, the well-known weed killer Roundup, glyphosate, and we found that even at very small doses, it diminishes easy water, and it was kind of as a control to see. We had so many things that build easy water. We wondered whether poisons. This is obviously weed killer. It's a poison.
Yeah.
Whether that, and sure enough, it does.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So for those of you who are not eating organic, or if you're not worried about the non-GMO, so you want to make sure you eat non-GMO, organic as much as possible, because when you do, that depletes the easy water in your cells that cause hydration. So I think I need to learn more, Dr. Pollack. Thank you so much for being on the show and explaining as much as you can in my little brain that that is so important for us to be strong and heal. So thank you. I could go on and on. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the really interesting questions.
Interesting. And for you, my listening friends, thank you so much for listening. Go to pollacklab.org to learn more, and we're going to continue our conversation. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Wow. This was so much information, Dr. Pollack. So much information.
Well, maybe too much. I hope not.
No, we can't contain this in one sitting. I need to digest this a little bit more. I need to go to an infrared room and just sit and let my easy water.
Oh yeah, have you been into saunas before?
No, I have maybe a while ago, but it's been there's a sauna in our subdivision, in our neighborhood. There's one that we can. It's a community pool and a community, and so I'll give it a try because someone said that this was really good, and I just haven't made the time for it. So you have encouraged me to do that.
It's worthwhile. I've experienced them in Finland and in Russia. And, the one in Finland, I was at a conference. And after the conference, there was a conference dinner and banquet. And by 11 p.m., I was dead, ready to go home, hoping that they'll get up and announce that the bus was returning to the hotel. someone got up there at the microphone, and I thought for sure it was time to get to the bus. He said, "It's time for a sauna." And it's Finland, and they do this all the time, and they had 3 or 4 or 5 different versions. Some are humid, some are dry, and some are for women, and some are et cetera, et cetera. And I just was so tired. I got into the sauna. 20 minutes later, it felt like morning. It felt like I just had a sleep, and I was ready to go, dancing or what have you. The last thing I wanted was to go to bed, go back to the hotel.
Wow. So, now you have, so really, I was, when I was focusing on doing this show, I wanted to talk about, how to bring the hydration in our body. But what I got from this is that there are ways to optimize our hydration.
Yes.
And that's what I'm getting out of this interview, which I wish I would have taken a totally different angle on, because we do things to do, like when you say glyphosates, oh my gosh, that's a huge topic right there. And I would love to, is that study in your 4th phase water? Or is that just recently?
No, that's recent. It was just published.
Yeah, because I didn't see that. If I would have seen that, I would have gone right there. Because when I was looking at your book, I didn't see that. But you have left me thirsty for more. And I said that at the beginning, and I think I need to learn more about this, because there are ways to optimize our hydration. And of course, I've been exposed to the hyperbaric oxygen chambers I've never participated in. I've been exposed to sauna that I've never, it's been a long time since I have. So I'm going to revisit this. I'm going to sit with this, and perhaps we can get you back to really focus on this 4th phase and how to optimize hydration in our body.
Sure, I'm happy to. And do try the sauna. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
20 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I mean, 20 minutes is typical, but it could be more, it could be less, but you may want to repeat it.
Okay.
And the hyperbaric, did you say that you haven't tried it? But
no, I haven't tried it, because every time I go to a convention, it's like, I wait too long to book, and it's full, So next time I'll be the first one there, book it for the weekend, and then try it out.
Well, my wife, unfortunately, has a stage 4 ovarian cancer, and one of the treatments recommended by some of the alternative physicians that we've been seeing is exactly that, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And my wife tried it almost a year ago when she was first diagnosed, and she loved every minute of it. It just was a bit expensive for us to do, and also inconvenient, but she's going back to it starting this weekend.
Very good. I'm very sorry to hear about her diagnosis.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pollack, I'm going to we're going to say goodbye on the YouTube video. I want to thank everybody. Thank you again, Dr. Pollack, for sharing your wisdom and for the work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.